After a long winter, I am beyond ready to spend more time outside, enjoy the summer, and to soak up some sun. But before we do that every year, I like to put in a little time to get our outdoor spaces ready so then that way they're good to go all season long. So come along today. I have got a ton of budget-friendly and easy projects that will help you transform your outdoor space no matter the size. You're watching Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney, and a huge welcome back to my whiskey craft buddies who are here each and every week to DIY along with me. I'm so thankful for you guys, and if you want to join us, it is so easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button down below, then that way you will be notified when I post new videos, and you won't miss any future DIY content.
I love how relaxing the sound of water is, so I wanted to add some sort of fountain out by our pool, but not for $349, so I thought I could get a similar look and vibe for much less. I started at the hardware store, and when I tell you anyone can do this DIY, I promise anyone can. Get yourself a planter, whether you buy one or get one from your house. This one's from Walmart. Then you're going to need some rocks. You can either steal them from your house if you've got extra rocks, or you can grab some little pond pebbles like I did. The whole bag was under $5 at Home Depot. I put the planter on a plant stand just to rise it up. We already had this, but you could easily put it on a table as well. Fill it up with rocks and then fill it up with water. If you get the rocks I did, make sure to clean your rocks first. Your water's going to look like this. So we dumped it out, refilled. My buddy was there to help. And then before we added the fountain piece, I added these mosquito dunks. These kill mosquito larvae for 30 days. It just dissolves in there. So then that way we're not going to have a breeding ground when you're trying to relax and you're just getting eaten by mosquitoes. Then I added this solar fountain from Amazon. So easy to put together. Good to go. I was able to make this for under $40, about $37 all in, and listen to how zen this sounds. This area of our deck is always where our guests sit or grandparents when they're watching Finn swim, but it can get really hot. So I headed to Home Depot and Walmart to get my supplies to make this a shaded oasis. I grabbed the same pot that I got from Walmart as well as a Walmart 5-gallon bucket. I did that just because it was white, but you can get them at Home Depot wherever, a couple bucks. And then you're also going to want a 2-foot section of 1.5-inch PVC. That was like $3.50 from my hardware store. I'm going to start by putting that piece of PVC in the center of my bucket and just using some painter's tape to keep it centered. You're not going to need this to be super heavy duty, but we're going to add some quick setting concrete mix. And with the painter's tape, it's just making it so my piece of PVC stays in the center. Now, I had this left over in my garage from when I made pumpkins out of cement a few years ago, so I only had a little over half a bag. I would recommend you do a whole bag if you're buying it, but I didn't want to have another half a bag sitting in my garage. I took it out back, added some water, and I started to stir with some scrap wood. That was a fail, so I grabbed my little pick shovel from the garden, and that helped so much better. I got it all mixed. You want to make sure that it's all combined with the water and then let it set at least overnight. I let it sit 2 nights. Then I brought it up on the deck, put it into the planter, and it was time to make it look a lot prettier than a bucket with some concrete in it. I added some of this paper that we recently got in a package just to help fill up the concrete. And also before I put the bucket in the planter, I removed the stoppers in the bottom just so then that way I will have drainage for my plants. I added a bag of Miracle-Gro, and I actually need just a touch more, but I was able to add some Impatiens, which do fine in the shade, and I also grabbed a cap for the PVC just so in case it rains, then that way my little tube is not going to get filled with water. My last step was I grabbed this umbrella because we needed more shade. This was a $50 one at Home Depot. You can find them inexpensively a lot of other places, and I love that even though it's windy, this heavy base is pretty and it's not going anywhere. Now, whenever we have guests that are sitting, not swimming, but wanting to watch Finn swim, they will be right near the action, but in the shade. I also am thinking about potentially moving this down near Finn's sandbox because we also need some shade there, and I won't have to worry about this falling over on him because the bottom is that sturdy. If you have a larger space that you're trying to decorate on a budget, definitely check out my 2x4 DIY video. That is where I will show you how I built this entire outdoor set, 2 chairs, a table, and a full outdoor wood couch using just 2x4s, a couple scrap pieces, and some cushions I got on sale at home. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check either the video up above or down in the description. I will walk you through the entire plan on how I made this. I love these and they are such a nice addition to our deck each summer. For so long, I've wanted one of these PVC drying racks that you can put for pool clothes or also use outside for a drying rack. Catherine at Do It On a Dime did this a couple years ago. I saw that one. I've seen a few other tutorials and I decided to make my own to fit my budget and to fit my area. So I'm using 5 pieces of 3/4 inch PVC as well as some different pieces. And I went through and just started messing around. I used these pipe cutters, which were about $10, which are so nice. You literally put it on the pipe, mark where you want to cut, and then you crank it. It's one-handed, super quick and easy. I'm so glad I bought these, and they have them on Amazon too if you don't want to have to go to the hardware store. Then I started measuring and kind of messing around with it to get my own version. And the nice thing is, as long as you know the concept, you can make this for how many rungs you want, how tall you want it, all of the things, as long as you have a little bit of basic math. So after a couple days of messing with it, this is what I came up with. So here is how you can recreate this at home as well. So from the store, like I said, you're going to buy 5 10-foot pieces of the PVC. You're going to want 10 cut to 36 inches, 2 cut to 30 inches, 2 cut to 12 inches, 4 cut to 6 inches, 2 cut to 5 inches, 2 cut to 4 inches, 4 cut to 3 inches, and then 2 cut to 1.5 to 2 inches. Also going to want to pick up some of these attachment pieces, which I will get into all those details in a minute, but you need T-brackets, 45 inches, and then the corners. So once you know where everything goes and you have it all cut, you can honestly put it together in less than 15 minutes. So let's break it down slow and steady so you can figure out where everything goes. 10 pieces at 36 inches long are going to be your main frame where all the green pieces are now. Then you're going to grab your 2 30-inch pieces. I wanted it to be a little bit shorter, so that's why I did 30 instead of 36 inches on those 2 bottom pieces. After that, you're going to do your 2 12-inch pieces down at the bottom and attach the 45s to that. And then from the top, the order of the pieces in between the T-slots are 3 inches, 2 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, and then 3 inches. Now here at where all of they come together, you're going to need 6 of the 3-way corner elbows, 4 of the 45-degree elbows, and then 10 of the T-pieces. Now that I have it all together, I plan to use some of this clear cement to create some longer pieces, but then that way I can take it down in the winter, use it in my basement, by my laundry room if I want, or we can just store it in our shed. This is going to be so helpful this summer, not only for towels and swim stuff, but I'm going to put some of our clothes out there to dry because we don't have a clothesline. I love the idea of this fire bowl because not everybody has space for a fire pit, and I had some landscape rocks left over from my fountain, so I decided to wash up what I had left, grab some all-purpose sand, and a pretty planter from Walmart. You're going to either use one you already have or find something that matches your aesthetic. I started by adding the all-purpose sand to the bottom of my container to fill it up, and it's also going to make it a little less heavy than filling the entire thing up with rocks. The reason we're doing sand and rocks is because we're adding this tabletop fire bowl and we want to make sure that everything we're working with is non-flammable. I'm going to pat down the sand and then used my washed rocks so they didn't have dirt all over them and they're nice and shiny around the outside to cover up the sand and give it a similar look to the rocks from the inspiration. I bought some black rocks that look similar to the inspiration from Amazon, and they were way more expensive and I didn't like the look, so I returned those and used these, and they were way cheaper and I could use up the leftovers from a previous project. I cleaned up any of the leftover water, and then I used the little insert that it comes with, along with some isopropyl alcohol, followed all the instructions. It's going to depend on what little fire table thing you have, but you want to make sure you're safe, light it away from your house, make sure it's all open, and then you have this cute little fire table that you can use for so many different things. This is able to be used to cook s'mores, so use it all up to your discretion and make sure that you are being safe. And then when you're done for the night, it also comes with this little damper tool, so you're able to put it right on top. You can clean it out and use it next time.
Hey craft buddies, if you're enjoying this video, I want to make sure that you are on my email list. I send emails every week with information on new videos. I've got coupon codes in there. I also do secret email subscriber giveaways, so those are only open to the folks that are on my email list. So if you're interested, you can scan this QR code or head down to the description and click the link. Just opt in. You will not be spammed. You get it once a week. It's all the information that you love, DIY type content, and you also get the password every month to my free file library over on my blog that is full of free printables, different templates, plans, also free SVGs. So if that sounds good to you, be sure to either scan the QR code or head to the link to put your email on the list. And I will see you next week when I send out my email.
We're going to tackle the need for hidden outdoor storage. I always need to store stuff, but I don't want it out visible. So I'm grabbing a planter from Walmart as well as this 24-inch wood round from Menards. Now you can use whatever planter you want, and if you have scrap wood, you could use that for the top. But the first thing I'm doing is taking some 1x2 scrap and measuring how much I'm going to need to inset it onto this wood so that it's going to act like an actual lid. I'm going to get my pot set on the bottom where I want it, trace it on the wood, and then I'm going to use that initial measurement to lay out my scraps. I just had these laying around. You could also use scrap from the value wood section, or just check around if you've got pallets or extra wood, or you can buy a 1x2 as well. I am going through and using my 2 7/8 measurement that I did for my container. I am using a mark on there, and the key here is you're going to use wood glue and some nails. Now, if you don't have a nail gun, no worries. All you need to do is get some finished nails with a hammer, and you can add those in there. The nail's going to hold it now, the glue is going to hold it forever, and I'm working my way around the outside of the container. Now, for two sides, I could easily use the 11-inch measurement, but then for the sides, I had to cut them down because I needed to make sure that I had 1-inch clearance around the inside of the pot, because if you look, there's a 1-inch lip around my planter. So you're going to have to allot for that when you're measuring, but 2 7/8 got me in from the outside and made sure that my wood was going to fit. Then I did a dry fit, and here you can hear it. It actually sits in and it's not going to go anywhere. That's exactly what I was looking for. You can do this for square pots as well, but I like that it's going to sit in there and not move, especially if people have drinks on it, because I'm going to use it as a side table. I'm giving this a really good sand, especially on the edges, because these pine edge glued things usually can be a little rough. But once I got it all smooth, I wiped off the sawdust, and then it's time to finish it. I decided to use this early American stain because this is what I have all around my house. And once I'm done in the summer, I'm going to bring this inside for the winter and use it for storage in our house. So I'm all for using stuff longer than just its intended use. Also highly recommend that you seal the wood, especially if it's going to get rained on or you're going to be putting drinks on there. Now I know that my triple thick from Varathane says interior, but I promise you I've done it outside. It does not yellow. I just make sure to do 3 coats of that and it is going to be protected. I just like that. It goes on really well. And like I said, I know it says interior, but I've done it before and it works well. If you want to use an exterior one, that's fine too. Now there are so many different ways you can use this. I'm going to use it for beach towels next to these chairs out by our pool. But because this pot has a stopper in the bottom, you could easily add ice and have it be a little cooler next to the pool. You could also have it house shoes, toys, anything you need to keep corralled and hidden. And the best part is this could be used indoor all year round. So if you don't have an outdoor space or don't need this outside, you could easily make it for inside your house just the same. One of my absolute favorite outdoor DIYs I have ever made are these planter boxes. They are Anna White plans. They come together so easily and they're made from fence pickets. So let's talk about supplies and let me show you how to make them yourself. So for each planter, I made 2, but for each individual one, you're going to need 4 large fence pickets at 6 feet long. We're going to need 3 1x2x8 furring strips and 2 1x3x8 furring strips. With the furring strips, it made all of the lumber under $15 to build one of the planters, so both of them come in under $30. Now for the cut list, you are going to do 6 pieces of fence picket at 18 inches long, 6 pieces at 17 inches long. We also need 4 1x2s at 18.5 inches long, and the same thing, 4 1x3s at 18.5 inches long. Those are going to be our legs. And then you're also going to need to keep some of your pickets as scrap, and then 1x2s for finishing later on, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So once we have all of those cut, we are going to sand them down per usual, and then we're going to assemble our legs. I did this kind of in an interesting order, and that was because I wanted the two-tone look, and so I needed to stain pieces separately so I didn't have to try to tape and stain and do all of that. So I am taking 2 of my 1x2 pieces along with my 1x3, using some wood glue and my nailer to attach them in kind of a bracket L shape. The second 1x2 is just there for support, so then that way the 1x3 isn't flopping around everywhere. Once I made all of my legs, so it's going to be 8 for 2 planters, I went through with jet black stain from Varathane, and I love this because you can still see the wood grain, but it's going to give it that dark black modern look. I also did all of the fence pickets in Early American from Minwax. Varathane also has an Early American color that I like. Let them dry overnight, and then we're going to assemble. So we're going to start by putting the 2 legs down with the 1x3s on the bottom. Then we're going to take our 18-inch pieces of stained pickets, line them up, flush them with the top of those 1x3 kind of brackets, and then we're going to use the nails to attach them. This is the same process of the toy box that we made for Finn a couple years ago, and I love the way that she does in her plans the legs, and so this was easy for me to follow, and once you start doing it, you will get the hang of it. Repeat that step again, and then you're going to put the 2 sides with the 1x2s down like this on the flat ground, and add the 3 17-inch pieces on one side, nail them the exact same way, and then we'll flip it over and do the 17-inch pieces on the other side to create our planter box. So now that we have this, it's not super structurally sound, it will kind of move around, so we want to measure the sides with our 1x3s to figure out what our first piece of trim is going to be. I cut 2 of those, and then I measured in between, and it was about 16 inches, so then I cut 2 more pieces. I stained all 4 of the pieces for each of the planters that black color, and then once those were dry, I was able to attach them with some brad nails again. Now I'm going directly into those leg braces first, and then I'm doing a couple just additional for good measure into the top of the fence picket on either side. So the last thing we got to think about is how are we going to keep our planted stuff in there? So I'm adding a little shelf to the bottom with scrap 1x2. So down here I lined up my 1x2s with the top edge of the fence picket. So there's 3 there. It's on the top of the bottom one. I stuck those pieces down, and then these I can remove, but there's nice drainage. And then you can either put like landscaping fabric over the top, or you can go ahead and put your pot right on top of here. I'm choosing not to nail down my fence picket pieces into the 1x2 so I can move it around. For now, I'm going to use this planter from Home Depot that fit perfectly in there. I really like the two-tone look here, and I am going to also do a transparent waterproofing wood finish that you can use on decks, just so everything is sealed, because I live in Illinois and you never know what the weather's going to be like. This will be our 3rd summer using these planters. They survive winter really well, and I love that every year Finn looks forward to picking out flowers and planting them in there with me. It's become our little tradition.
I hope today's video gave you a ton of inspiration on how you can take either these ideas exactly or modify them to fit your space, your style, and your summer activities. Let me know down in the comments your favorite project, and also be sure, if you aren't already, to join my email list so you can get all of those fun links, tips, tricks, new video notifications, as well as access to my full free file library. Info's down in the description, or you can scan this QR code to go right to the sign up form. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any future Whiskey and Whit videos, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!